Good evening, viewers, and welcome to this edition of NTV Sports Page. It's Tuesday, 3rd May, and I'm Curtis Morton. In our headlines, confusion reigns over inter-primary results. And in our feature for this evening, we get some excerpts from the funeral service of the late outstanding cricketer Vance Amory. We'll take this break and I'll be right back.
As a responsible taxpayer, you help to finance free health care at all health centers on Nevis. Thank you for putting country above self. This message was brought to you by the Inland Revenue Department, Nevis. Be a responsible citizen.
Well, I'm back and we start with cricket. El Quemido Tonito Willett, the first Leeward Islander to make it to the West Indies cricket team, celebrated his 69th birthday on Sunday, 1st May. Willett created history at the age of just 19 years when he was called up by the West Indies selectors. He played his first test match, which started on March 9, 1973, versus Australia in Barbados. In total, he played some 5 test matches, took 11 wickets for 482 runs at an average of 43.81. Most significantly, however, he opened the floodgates for other stars to follow in his footsteps, such as Sir Vivian Richards, Sir Andy Roberts, Sir Richie Richardson, and Sir Curtly Ambrose, along with fellow Nivisians Derek Parry, Keith Atherton, Stuart Williams, Carl Tuckett, Ronaldo Morton, and Kyron Powell. Nivisians are still advocating for the great man to be knighted while he's yet alive. Now to swimming, the annual cross-channel swim, which takes place between Orly Beach and the nearest point in St. Kitts, has been nominated in the 100 WOWSA World Top 100 Open Water Swimming events. Chief coordinator of the event, Winston Crook, was alerted of this happening with a letter from WOWSA, the World Open Water Swimming Association. The letter reads, "Congratulations, we have some very exciting news to share with you. Your event has been selected as one of the 100 nominees for the 2022 WOWSA World Top 100 Open Water Swimming events. The nominees are annually assessed by the WOWSA Board of Directors and the global set of advisors based on the following criteria: history, historical significance with a track record of safety and success, uniqueness, event format is unique or the location is special and beautiful, popularity, enthusiasm in the open water community is successfully established, difficulty, provides a meaningful open water challenge, attention to safety, established organizational priority on protecting the swimmers, global geographic distribution, a mix of locations throughout the world." And you know, this event takes in all of this in terms of the criteria. Thank you for your contribution to the sport of open water swimming and its continued growth. See you on shore. How you can help? Vote for your favorite event throughout the year. Contest runs from April 28, 2022 to December 31st, 2022. Voting begins April 28th at 3 p.m. and ends on December 1st at 3 p.m. Final winners will be announced on January 1st, 2023. All voters must register on the WOWSA site to vote this year. Every user gets 3 votes per day for a year. So after you visit the WOWSA site to read the daily news of open water swimming, pop on over to the World Top 100 events and vote for your favorite race. And you know what that race is? The cross-channel swim between Nevis and St. Kitts. Now to athletics, there is some apparent confusion over the final tally of scores resulting from the most recently held Gulf Insurance Inter-Primary Sports Meet. The results released on the same night of the event were Charleston Primary 212 points, overall champions, St. Thomas's Primary 168 points, Joyce and Libert Primary 168 points, Ivor Walters Primary 91 points, Maud Cross Preparatory 57 points, and the B Division champions, Elizabeth Pemberton Primary 54 points, VOJN 53 points, Nevis Academy combined 34 points, and St. James's Primary 29 points. However, by the following day, information was circulating which indicated that there had been a review of the scores which ultimately broke the tie between St. Thomas's Primary and Joycelyn Libert Primary, giving St. Thomas's the edge in second place, and Maud Cross Preparatory School was relegated to second place in the B Division, and the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School once again taking the trophy in that division. There was much outrage from some of the schools, and persons alluded to the psychological effect such changes could have on the competing children. The Ministry of Education has since made the following press release. The Ministry of Education wishes to advise that the scores for the recently concluded Gulf Insurance Inter-Primary Schools Championship are currently under review. Please note that the Ministry of Education has not circulated any documents related to the scores for the meet. The final scores will be shared on Wednesday, that's tomorrow, May the 4th, at 1:30 p.m. through a press briefing. We thank the students, coaches, schools, parents, and the general community for their patience during this time as we look forward to completing the verification process. We apologize for any inconvenience which may have been caused by the review process and assure you that we'll continue to work to provide the best resolution in the best interest of all parties, especially the children. We'll take this break and I'll be back with our feature for this evening.
This is Montessori Academy, a call for action.
Coronavirus disease, COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by a newly discovered coronavirus. COVID-19 is called a pandemic due to the number of cases around the world.
The cases are increasing everywhere. However, St. Kitts and Nevis is rated level 1, low risk, for COVID-19 by the Center of Disease Control and Prevention.
It is important that we protect ourselves and others by washing our hands frequently, wearing our masks, and social distancing.
So remember, we are our brother's keeper. Each one teach one, each one care for one. Let's look out for each other. Stay COVID-free.
Well, I'm back, and tonight cricket is in the spotlight. With much pomp and ceremony, former Nevis, Leeward Islands, Combined Islands, and President's 11 opening batsman Vance Amory was laid to rest on Saturday, 30th April. He was honored with a state funeral due to his major contributions to the development of Nevis and to some extent St. Kitts as educator, banker, politician, premier, and in more recent times, ambassador in the office of the Prime Minister. Among those attending the funeral service were President of the Leeward Islands Cricket Association, Enoch Lewis, President of the Nevis Cricket Association, Carlisle Powell, and many cricketers who would have played with him or on opposing teams over the years. Let's take in this.
Some of my earliest, clearest recollections of life in Nevis as a sibling centered around our time living opposite the Gingerland police station, and as the history of the child shall be the basis of the man, I would like to share some of my own treasured memories of life growing up with my brother Vance. We had our chores. Vance had his chores. For example, most days before school, he would have to walk over a mile at 5 a.m. to get bread for the family. He did so without ever complaining. He excelled in sports, especially cricket, and he took any opportunity that he could to play. This was usually in the rear grounds of the nearby police station. We would hew out a cricket bat from a fallen cotton tree and use a wind ball. Those days we only needed 3 people for a game. Vance the bat, my other brother to bowl, and as the youngest, yours truly to go fetch. After getting many scratches from ferreting in the bush for the ball once too many times, I decided I would assert myself and demand a more active role in the game. To bowl for Vance. Well, he dispatched my first and only ball for 6 way over some trees deep into the bush. And yes, I still had to go fetch.
Our presence here today is an endorsement of the ultimate desire of Mr. Amory, which embodies the command deeply rooted in Scripture, the 13th chapter of John, verse 34. To be precise, it reads, "A new command I give to you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another." It is love for people, love for country, that elevated the late great Vance Amory above so many?
Well, at a very young age, I remember in my teens playing for the Knights Cricket Club in Gingerland. And at that time, I played with Mr. Amory. And I think he was captain at the time, he was a sort of a mentor. He played with the team. I played with guys like Justin from Rollins, Gary Pemberton and myself who were bowling. We were fast bowlers. And one of the things I remember he said to me at one point in time, we were playing at, I think it was over in Zion. And he said to me, Raleigh, you're a hard wicket bowler. So I ain't going to put you on yet, I'm going to hold you back a little. He said, I'm going to hold you back a little because you're a hard wicket bowler. And I guess he was trying to tell me the pictures of, moist and so on, and he wanted me to, come on with it, sort of level out a little bit. So I always remember that at his playing times. I mean, he was a great person around the team, always sharing insights to the guys and them. And it was surely a blessing for me at that time to rub shoulders with someone who had represented Nevis at the highest level. Combined Islands, Leeward Islands, President 11. I mean, I felt good at that time, like, hey, So that's where my cricketing exploit started.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Amory, of course, we would have heard so much that he was such a superb cricketer. And we in Gingerland and Nevis, we are proud that we would have produced such a talented batsman. Of course, we would have heard of his exploits on the field. And I think, of course, every time cricket is being played, we will remember Vance. We'll remember him for his exploits in the game. We'll remember him for what the contribution that he made to the game. And of course, cricket was such a part of him that every time cricket was being played, whether here in the ETW Park or wherever, he tried to make it his business to be there. He always encouraged the young cricketers, and I know we're going to miss him dearly from the game of cricket. And so, as the Minister of Sport, we want to say thank you, Honourable Vance Amory, for your sterling contribution to the game of cricket. Of course, we will always remember that. Thank you.
Well, it's unfortunate that we have a tribute that we wanted to deliver, but, time is of the essence and we couldn't. But what I recall of Vance Amory, as we wrote in the tribute, was just a classic batsman, right? And I would say, like I done in the tribute, that he had one of these cover drives that brought a frenzy to both the spectators and commentators. And I remember Hugh Claxton in particular. You on his cover drive, you'd be asking, where are the West Indies selectors? Where are the West Indies selectors? But, when I speak to his teammates like Sebastian, Hugo, Jamalin, Viv, Andy, right? What they remember most about him is humanity, right? How kind he was, how gracious he was, right? He's somebody who could bring calm to any situation that seems volatile. So, we're going to miss this man. In my tribute, I spoke to him, in terms of his contribution to Nevis. And my favorite comment there was, look, he was a man that had the intellectual capacity to meet with and address the people in the highest diplomatic forum, right? And at the same time, the humility to meet with the poorest of the poor. And that just says a lot about who he was. The tributes that you hear are all about how great he was as a human being. Yes, a cricketer, but great as a human being. And I just want to really say that, that's where the people miss him most, just for his humility and his humanity.
Yeah, well, there's a square mile around Grove Park that Vance's history is written with me. We started in Charleston, the school ground. We played there from the age of 16, all the way until he went to play for the Leeward Islands and the Combined Islands. We came here and practiced on this pitch at 7:20 every morning before going to school. We played a lot of cricket together. And, throughout his cricketing career, we were always very, very close. The most integral part of our relationship was when he came to St. Croix in 1987 and played for a team. We had done him the chances. He lived with me, we played together, and our bond became so much closer. And we had an excellent time because in my opinion, he's one of the greatest opening batsmen. An excellent fielder, as I heard Andy Roberts attributed to. And he was a great exponent. And love cricket. Vance Amory was a name that's synonymous to Nevis. And we all who played with him and know his friendliness, his qualities, his ambition, and he pushed everybody to this Vance. Vance was a great man, and we miss him. Even thinking about him bring tears to my eyes at this particular time. And you courtesy, you played with you and played against you. And this is a man who is etched in the history of Nevis. Regardless of whether you played with him or not, we all heard about Vance Amory. And he got the name Amory after he started playing for the Leeward Islands. Because my name was Vance Amory. Went to Barbados, Tony Coves decided to call him Vance Amory. And that name stuck. And he loved it. We loved it to say it either Amory or Amory. But his name was Vance Amory. And it's sad to see him go, but we all have to take that part one of these days.
In high school days, he was our teacher then, and we used to hustle down for lunch and back, and he used to come and play with us between the lunch period.
Okay.
But watch him play, enjoy watching him play. But the sweetest thing that I always bring up with him in recent times is playing against him, St. Kitts Masters against Nevis Masters in St. Martin. I clean bowl him. He said, how you get that do? He said, he cover up everything and he was clean bowl. And that's the fondest memory of cricket. I just much as I watch him play, enjoy watching him play. When I clean bowl him in that match a couple of years ago, that is really touching, and always a laugh, a good laugh between me and him about it. I always remind him about it. And really thought he should have made the West Indies team back then, but that's all that turned out. He's a legend for us.
My experience with Vance is from my days. We all grew up together, the same church. Soap is wife in the Anglican church. Sunday school, everything. And he's a part of we are one family.
And then you played cricket together?
Yeah. We played together in Nevis and in St. Kitts. That's how far back I went to cricket.
How good was he?
How good was he? The best opening bats between these islands and up further between the Windward and Leeward Island.
He was that good?
Yes. He should have been on the West Indies team before Eastern McMorris.
Okay.
And for sure, that was a sure shot.
Well, I've known Vance since a little boy, and I went into cricket, and he was my captain for Knight's cricket team. So I really came up under him, learned techniques from him, and learned the game. Yeah, well, I consider him a very fine batsman. For me, his favorite shot was a short arm pull. I like to see him play that, you know what I mean, and he cutting too, and hooking, yeah, so, but all in all, he's a very good fielder too, very good fielder, yes. I've learned from him, but one moment I would, Vance is a very cool guy, but when he gets, irritated, So I could remember a moment in St. Kitts when we were playing against St. Kitts and we avoided the follow-on, but somehow they said we had to go back to back. So me and Vance opened, and then we went to bat, and Vance went into the pace bowler was
Harris? James Harris?
No, it was from down St. Paul's there. We went to him. But that was the last time he played. Because Vance went into him, he was bad, we weren't supposed to bat again, and I think he took 24 off his over. And his career was ended. But it was nice playing with Vance, you learn from him, and very good cricketer, nice batsman, good fielder, understand the game. And, nice.
Okay,
It was nice knowing.
So I played with Mr. Amory, fun cricket. I played against him, with him playing with the Gingerland Knights. I played with the CSS team, school team, and later on with rivals, and then played with him as a young fella in the Nevis team, going to Montserrat and so on. I think one of the things that built and started our close friendship in 1973 or 4, I think it was, when I made the team. For every match they keep making me 12 man. And then, when all the other opening batsmen were failing, I think we had a match. It might have been against Anguilla, the next match. And then everybody says, well, this time, it might have been against St. Kitts. And everybody said, okay, this time is Weber chance, because everybody failed already. And I don't know if you could remember, they brought Ivor Henry from St. Kitts. He used to play in the league in St. Kitts. He never played in the league in Nevis, but Livingston Sargent knew him, and Sarge was the captain. And so they put him into to open, and they still didn't give me a play, And we all know what happened with that inning, if you can remember, with Harris and him. Ivor Henry too, great friend of mine. But what happened was, when they finally named the team and they said that I was 12 men again, I was probably, about 15, 16, so you know how depressed you were, and so on. And then he came over to me and he tapped me on the shoulder. He had this way he'd like to tap you. And he said, youngster, it's okay, you'll be all right, and so on. And that, lifted me. And, we started and stuff there. And we went from there. I saw him play a shot off his legs, and on driving. Those are not the easiest shots to play. Square of the wicket, right? It was a Leeward Islands tournament match. I forgot who they were playing against. And he clipped it off his legs, down square of the wicket, down by his 20s for 6. I never forget that thing, because I myself as a player, I know those are not the easiest shots to play. And apart from that, very jovial and stuff like that. And I think that's all I have to say about this, because everybody knows the Reverend and me were good.
Okay.
And we thank him for his service.
Thanks a lot, Reverend.
Springtime and harvest, sun, moon, and stars in their courses above, join with all nature in manifold witness to thy great faithfulness, mercy, and love. Oh, great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness, morning by morning, new mercies I see.
Well, that's our package for this evening. I am Curtis Morton, reminding you that you can watch sports if you're not fit. But to play sports requires fitness, diligence, and sacrifice. Have a good night.